Hola, rancheroos! Welcome to this episode of How to Draw Dino Ranch. Today, we're showing you how to draw Dino Ranch's inventor, Miguel Cassidy. We'll start by doing a rough drawing, then we'll trace over top of it for our final drawing. So you'll need 2 pieces of paper, a pencil, and of course, an eraser. Get your supplies and let's rumble and tumble. Let's start with Miguel's head. Make sure you start closer to the top of the page so there's room for his body. We're going to draw him looking to the right, so start with a half circle for the top of his head, then a few curved lines for his cheeks and chin. Now, put 2 lines right in the middle of Miguel's face, one going up and down, and one going sideways. Since he's looking off to the right, angle the lines a little bit. This is called a cross grid, and it'll help us know where to draw Miguel's face. We'll erase these lines for our second drawing. Using the cross grid as a guide, draw a C curve on the side of his head for his ear. We won't need to draw his right ear because it's hidden by his face. Next, we'll draw a big swooping curve, kind of like a peanut, above Miguel's head for his hat brim. Then, add a curved line over top for the top of his head. Next, draw a half oval along the sideways cross grid line for Miguel's eye, and another less curved line underneath. And do the same on the other side of the cross grid for the other eye. See how they're tilted at the same angle as the cross grid? We'll use the cross grid for the nose too. Draw a smaller curved line on the left-hand side and a bigger one on the right-hand side. That way his nose is facing the right way. Then add 2 curves below his nose to give him a smile. And we'll add the smaller curves at the ends of his smile to show his cheeks getting pushed up. Back to the eyes. Let's color 2 dark spots for his pupils looking to the right. We'll add 2 lines above his eyes for his eyebrows. And then we'll start drawing in his hair. We do that by drawing little bumps below his hat. The bumps on the left-hand side of his head point left, and the bumps on the right-hand side point right. There are also more bumps on the right. 2 lines at the bottom of his head make his neck, and close them with a curved line. We'll start his torso drawing a bump off the side of his neck for his shoulder, and then a straight line going down, about the same length of his head. Cartoon characters often have big heads, which makes them cuter. Put a curved line where his legs will go, and finish the other side of the torso. Again, notice that the right-hand side is smaller because he's facing right. Draw a line down the middle of his body, under the middle line of his face's cross grid to help you here. Draw 2 sideways lines for his belt and a circle in the middle of that center line. Starting on the inside of his jacket, draw 2 vertical lines beside the middle line for the jacket flap. Draw a couple of curves between his neck and his shoulders for the collar. And now we can add in his arms. We're going to pose Miguel with his hands resting on his waist. This is a strong and confident pose for someone with big ideas. Starting with the left arm, draw 2 diagonal lines that point away from his torso. When you reach the elbow, draw another set of diagonal lines that point toward his waist. Then, add the cuffs on his gloves by drawing in 2 lines across the forearms. And lastly, draw some rough curves for his hands. We'll fix those up later. Now do the same thing for the right arm. When you get to the hand, you'll see part of it is hidden behind his body. For his legs, draw 4 long lines, closing them off with 2 small rectangles for his pant cuffs. Below that, add his shoes by drawing a semicircle for his toes, and a flat line at the bottom, and a vertical line that attaches to the pant cuff. Dynamite! We're done our rough drawing. I'm going to make the lines that I think look good even thicker so they'll be easier to trace. And looking for any little details I missed, I'm looking at my drawing right now and I'm realizing that I need to connect his legs to his hips and add some tufts of hair on the back of his head. You can do the same and prepare your next piece of paper to do your tracing. I'm using a computer program called Photoshop, so I'm changing my drawing of Miguel from black to gray so it's easier to draw over top of. Following along by tracing your drawing underneath. This time, do your best to be as clean as possible. Remember, you don't need to draw those extra lines we added, like the cross grid on his face. You can go in any order you want, and if you have more pieces of paper, you can do this as many times as you'd like. I'm going to add a few more tiny details, like adding a line inside Miguel's ear so it looks a little less flat. 2 diagonal lines at his neck for his bandana, dots for buttons down the middle of his shirt, and small squares on his chest for pockets. I'm also making his hands a little nicer, adding little lines to show his fingers. All that's left is to color Miguel in. You can pause the video here to copy the colors I used, or color your Miguel in any way you want. And that's all, Dino Migo! You've just finished drawing Miguel, and you did a triceratops-tastic job! We'll see you down the trail for another episode of How to Draw Dino Ranch.